Seoul has been named the world's most beloved city by travelers aged 25 to 40 for the fourth consecutive year, according to US-based travel media outlet Trazy Travel.
미국의 글로벌 여행 전문 매체 트래지 트래블의 올해 투표 결과 25세에서 40세 사이 MZ세대 여행객들에게 가장 사랑받는 도시로 서울이 4년 연속 선정됐습니다.
Yeah, congratulations, Seoul. The Trazy Awards. Have you heard of these awards?
No.
Well, apparently they're put on by this travel website that targets specifically millennials and Gen Z, and that's why probably we've never heard of it.
Oh, that's why. Okay. So
what
25 to 40-year-olds.
25 to 40-year-olds. So the Trazy Awards are put on by this organization, and readers vote on their favorite travel brands, airlines, hotels, destinations, things like that. But the website explains that with the recent success for the past month, I think the whole world is just dominated by K-pop demon hunters. That's a big reason why Seoul has been chosen as a travel site. Dublin, Ireland, came in second, surprisingly, followed by Hong Kong and London. These awards have been in effect for the past 11 years, but Seoul, among over 800,000 voters participating in this poll, receiving the most votes. So there you go.
11년째 계속되어 오고 있는 Trazy Travel의 이 투표 결과입니다. 그래서 올해 같은 경우에는요, 가장 사랑받는 도시 서울, 그 다음으로 아일랜드의 더블린, 그리고 홍콩, 그리고 영국의 런던 이런 순서였군요.
Yeah, and this goes on the heels of back in February when Seoul was voted, or back in July, I should say, Seoul was ranked first in Asia and third among the world in hosting international conferences as well. The MICE industry, if you're aware of that. So
Ministry of Communication.
I think it's
what is it?
no, it's about talking about conventions, exhibitions. When you put on these international events.
I'm saying, what does MICE stand
MICE,
for?
MICE would have to stand for
Conventions and Exhibitions?
Conventions and exhibitions are in there. Meetings,
Yeah.
incentives,
Oh,
conferences and exhibitions. Yes.
Meetings, not ministry. Meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions.
Yes, so they're all tourism related.
Got it.
Yeah.
우리가 흔히 말하는 그런 뭐 전시회라든지 전람회라든지 전람회는 아니겠네요. 근데 이제 코엑스, 뭐 백스코, 또
킨텍스 right here.
킨텍스
Yeah.
여기 보면은 다 EX가 들어가잖아요. 그 exhibition 전시라는 뜻의 약자인데요. 여기 MICE에도 같은 단어가 포함이 되어 있네요. 그런 식으로 서울이 국제 행사를 상당히 많이 개최한다라는 것도 얼마 전에 드러난 사실인데 더불어서 많은 외국 관광객들이 특히 25세에서 40세 사이가 가장 사랑하는, 가장 즐겨 찾는 그런 목적지라는 거. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, it's good to see because typically when travelers visit East Asia, they would typically go to China and Japan in the past. And if they had to choose, they would skip Korea. But now
Yeah.
it's becoming their priority. Yeah.
정말 오래전 얘기지만
Yes.
back in the 80s 너무 오래전이죠. 근데 80년대에는 제가 영국에서 살았을 때 한국이 어디 있는지
Sure.
항상 설명을 해야 됐었어요.
Of course.
그러면서 제가 It's between China and Japan이라고 알려주면 사람들이 I didn't know there was a country between China and Japan 이랬었는데
Right. And then the next question, of course, was, are you from North or South, right? Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, indeed. 지금은 사실 너무 이거는 뭐 옛날 얘기가 됐죠. 뭐 한국이 어디 있는지 모르는 사람 없고 다 오고 싶어 하고
Yes.
너무나 좋습니다. It's night and day, the difference of, how big Korea has become, how loved it is.
Yes, and Korea is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
That's right. It's a beloved country.
Yes, so beloved, or you can pronounce this as beloved with three syllables. And I don't think there's any distinction in that. Some internet sites, I had to look this up, might want to try and distinguish, saying that the adjective form, beloved, is three syllables. And when you talk about someone like the beloved, it's still three syllables, but as beloved by something, then it's two syllables. But I don't think you should think about that.
Yeah, I think both are okay
just pick
in
one,
any situation.
But if you've ever been to a wedding or seen a Western style wedding in the movies, the the person at the front will always start off by saying dearly beloved.
beloved.
Right. And that's talking about everyone that's loved.
그렇죠. 이 단어는 beloved인데요. 삼음절로 발음하기도 하고 이음절로 발음하기도 합니다. So when it's 3 syllables, beloved, 2 syllables, beloved.
Yeah.
And both are okay in most situations.
Yes. And you might ask, what is the difference between beloved and loved then? Loved is more of a general term,
Yeah.
but beloved emphasizes sort of the respect, esteem of someone. If there's like a lifelong affection, a deep special bond, you would say beloved. So
단순히
it's loving more. in a way.
그러네요. 그러니까 사랑받는 것을 넘어서서 존경받는다라는 의미도 같이 내포하고 있네요. A beloved person or a beloved person. What about US based?
Yeah, US based, US hyphen based easily just means describing a person. It could be a company or organization that is located or for a business headquartered in the United States.
headquarters가 본사잖아요. 그러니까 본사를 어디에 두고 있느냐에 따라서 지명을 붙이면 됩니다. US based는 미국의 본사를 두고 있는. 그러면은 만약에 한국에 본사를 두고 있으면 South Korea based.
South Korean based, you can say as well.
Oh, South Korean based.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can use this for people as well. If you meet someone at an international conference, for example, they might ask,
Where are you based?
Where are you based?
Yeah.
As a journalist, many people ask, where are you based? I say, I'm based in Seoul, but I'll move around to other countries.
아,
right?
그렇죠. 네. 개인한테도 쓰는 표현이에요. 특히 여러 곳에서 이제 특파원의 경우 선생님도 그렇게 하시죠. 저도 예전에 그랬었는데 많은 곳에서 이제 보도를 하기는 해요. 리포팅을 하지만 이게 주 활동지가 어디냐 그것을 물어볼 때 영어로는 Where are you based? 그랬을 때 I'm based in Seoul or I'm based in Washington 이런 식으로 뭐 주 활동지는 여기지만 뭐 다른 데서도 일할 수 있다 이런 식으로 얘기를 할 수 있겠죠? Alright, well here's the headline again. Seoul has been named the world's most beloved city or beloved city by travelers aged 25 to 40 for the 4th consecutive year, according to US-based travel media outlet Trazi Travel. Let's move on to the next headline.
The weather agency has forecast that extremely hot temperatures, accompanied by heat wave alerts and tropical nights, are expected to continue this week, adding that September temperatures are also projected to remain above seasonal norms.
네, 기상청은 이번 주에도 폭염특보와 열대야를 동반한 무더위가 계속될 것으로 예보한 가운데 이후 이어질 9월 기온도 평년보다 높을 것으로 내다봤습니다.
Yeah, more weather talk here, but we have more of a mid to long range sort of forecast here. The headline begins the weather agency, but I
Yeah.
think because we talk about this so often, it's assumed that this is the Korean Meteorological
yeah.
Administration, right? But what the KMA is anticipating is that September temperatures are also expected to remain above seasonal norms. So there's your answer. The heat is going to continue most likely through the next month. The reason for this is that cool air is expected to flow into the Korean Peninsula from the north, and when it collides with this hot, humid air, a low pressure system triggers showers in the central region, and the heat continues. So there you go.
네, 기상청을 얘기할 때 공식 명칭 KMO, Korea Meteorological Organization.
KMA.
KMA,
Yeah.
sorry. 뭐죠?
Administration.
Agency. Is it?
Administration, I believe, yeah.
아유, 그래요. 다시. 그러니까 기상청의 공식 명칭 KMA를 쓸 수도 있지만 그거를 좀 통칭으로 Weather Agency라고 많이 합니다. 왜냐하면 나라마다 사실 그 기상청의 명칭이 다 달라요. 그러다 보니까 이거를 처음부터 공식 명칭을 얘기해도 되지만 또 모르는 사람들이 들을 수도 있잖아요. 그런 청취자나 시청자들을 위해서 그냥 날씨를 알려주는 기관이라는 뜻으로 The Weather Agency라고 하죠.
Yeah. In the U.S., if you're curious,
Yeah.
It's the National Weather Service that provides for national weather forecasts.
Exactly. 자, 한번 표현 보겠습니다. To be accompanied by something.
Yeah, so when you're accompanied by something, you're together with someone or something. You're joined, or if it's a person, you're escorted, or if something's just occurring alongside another person, you say
Yeah.
it's accompanied by something.
On the show today, I'm accompanied by Shane.
Yes.
But when you go somewhere, you could be accompanied by a friend or a family member, or whoever you're with.
Yeah.
You're accompanied by them, right?
Right. Oftentimes you might see a sign that says children must be accompanied by an adult if it's a dangerous area, for example.
accompanied는요, 스펠링이 accompanied인데요. 누구와 함께 하고 있다라는 뜻이 있습니다. 동반하고 있다. 그래서 children must be accompanied by a guardian or parent. 보통 외국에서는 이렇게 얘기하죠. 보호자가 반드시 동반을 해야 됩니다. 지금 날씨 얘기잖아요. 그러니까 뭐 이런 현상과 저런 현상이 함께 할 것이다. 열대야와 폭염. 네.
Because they come together, right?
그래요.
Yeah.
언제까지
A lot of
계속될지
times.
모르겠지만 그렇다고 하고요. It's higher than the seasonal norms.
Yeah, so a norm or the norms would be sort of the standard of something, what's average. So seasonal norms would be the typical average weather conditions in that specific season or that period.
Exactly. Norms. 우리가 코로나 시대 끝나가면서도 참 얘기 많이 했는데 이제 코로나 중에도 말했군요. 지금 이게 일상이 됐다, 보통이 됐다라고 할 때 this is the new norm 이렇게 얘기하기도 했었어요. 날씨 얘기를 할 때 norm, N-O-R-M이라는 것은 그냥 그 평균, 보통의 날씨를 얘기하고 있죠. normal이랑 어원이 똑같아서 seasonal norms 그러면 이 계절에 보통 보여지는 그런 뭐 기온이라든지 현상이라든지 이런 것들인데요. 그럼 평년 수준보다 높은 기온이 이번 주에도 계속될 거라고 합니다.
Right. In that case, it means average. But if you go to a foreign country, you should honor and respect cultural norms, right?
그렇죠.
In
Cultural
that case, it'd
norms.
be standards.
Exactly. 문화적으로 그 나라에서 그냥 보통 행해지는 것들 그것을 우리가 존중을 해줘야 되죠. 우리랑 달라도.
Yes.
다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The weather agency has forecast that extremely hot temperatures accompanied by heat wave alerts and tropical nights are expected to continue this week, adding that September temperatures are also projected to remain above seasonal norms.
NASA has unveiled a breathtaking new image combining X-ray data and radio waves to reveal a colossal cosmic hand spanning 150 light years shaped by one of the galaxy's most powerful electromagnetic generators.
미 항공우주국 나사가 우주에서 X선 데이터와 전파 데이터를 합쳐 얻어낸 거대한 손 모양 성운의 새로운 이미지를 공개했습니다. 이 성운은 약 150광년에 걸친 규모로 은하계 최고 수준의 자기장을 뿜어내는 펄서로 인해 형성된 것입니다.
Yeah. So I'll try to explain this in layperson's terms
because
as best as possible.
this is rocket science to me, and it kind of is literally as
Literally
well.
rocket science, right? So basically, NASA discovered this so-called "quote-unquote" cosmic hand back in 2009, but they were able to reveal new images of it recently by combining this X-ray data using X-ray and this radio waves from an Australian telescope.
Right.
And so combining this, they saw this nebula. So what a nebula is it's a giant cloud of gas and dust in space. And this nebula surrounds this pulsar. Pulsar. And a pulsar is a type of star like our sun, but it's actually much later on in its life form, where it's very dense. Its collapsed core has been left behind after the star has exploded in a supernova. So basically, you have this beautiful, pretty array of stars, I guess you could say, this pulsar that's shaped like a hand. And because it's so massive, it's 150 light years in width, there's a lot of electromagnetic energy that's formed through this. So there you go.
So the
Don't ask me
nebula-
more.
So the nebula would be the 성운 in this case, I guess.
Okay.
And the pulsar, as you said, is like a star, but it's advanced in its years.
Yes.
Okay. you mentioned it's spectacular, it's breathtaking. It's also colossal.
Yeah, so I said it was 150 light years away. I think that's more than something quadrillion kilometers, which it's hard to really
1.4
fathom.
or is it? Yeah,
Something like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? But if something's colossal, it simply means it's very big. It's enormous. It's gigantic. If you are a Marvel X-Men fan, there's a character named Colossus, which is a very big figure.
Okay. COLOSSAL, colossal, 어마어마한, 거대한 이런 형용사예요. 그래서 지금 이 손 모양의 nebula, 성운이 어마어마하게 크다.
Right.
이런 뜻인 것 같아요. So
Yeah.
they could just say it's a big nebula, but that doesn't really describe, how big it is.
No.
It's 150 light years, which is very hard for us to picture, but by listening to the word colossal, we think, oh, it must be massive.
Right. And you use this when something is really big. So if you have a TV, for example, let's say there's a 70-inch TV, I don't think you would call that a colossal TV.
I don't think so,
right?
yeah,
It would
yeah.
have to be much bigger, like a container ship, for example.
그러니까요. 이 colossal이라는 형용사는 평소에는 잘 쓰지 않을 정도로 정말 일반적으로 생각하는 거 이상의 크기일 때, 어마어마하게 클 때, 그때만 쓰는 거라고 생각하시면 돼요.
거대하다? So you wouldn't explain that for a TV, right?
그렇죠.
거대한 TV.
네,
Right.
그래요. 그러니까 지금 얘기하고 있는 이 성운도 보통 크기가 아니라는 걸 그냥 이 느낌으로 알 수 있죠. 우리가 사실 150광년 이라고만 하면은 감이 잘 안 오지만 colossal이라는 단어가 붙음으로 인해서 거대하구나. 이게 그냥 짐작을 할 뿐입니다. And it was shaped by an electromagnetic generator. What's shaped by? What is that?
Yeah, so the nebula pulls on using this electromagnetic sort of waves. And so it's influenced or formed. This hand is formed by that. So it's determined by that, right?
Shaped by. A is shaped by B. 그러면은 A는 B에 의해서 형성이 됐다. 이렇게 빚어졌다. 이런 뜻이 되겠죠. I think you could use this for people as well.
Absolutely.
I've been shaped by, what could you say?
Your mentors
Yeah.
in the past.
My
for
role
example.
models, my parents. Well,
You're
yes.
shaped by me.
Sure, of course. 갑자기 I was shaped by you라고
Obviously
하죠.
a joke. Yeah.
네, 그래서 이렇게 지금의 내가 되기까지는 이러한 저러한 것들이 영향을 미쳤다. I have been shaped by something. In this case, we're talking about the hand-shaped, what is it again? Nebula?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was shaped by a very powerful electromagnetic generator.
Yes.
단어들이 쉽지 않습니다. 자, electromagnetic는 전자기의라는 뜻이 있겠죠? 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. NASA has unveiled a breathtaking new image combining X-ray data and radio waves to reveal a colossal cosmic hand spanning 150 light years, shaped by one of the galaxy's most powerful electromagnetic generators. Now let's move on to the next headline.
Denmark's national postal service, PostNord, will end 4 centuries of letter deliveries by year's end, shifting its focus to the more profitable parcel business.
덴마크 국영 우편국 포스트 노르드가 올해 말을 끝으로 400년간 이어온 편지 배달 서비스를 종료하고 수익성이 좋은 소포 사업에 집중할 것으로 전해졌습니다.
Such sad news, right? Because we remember the days when people used to write letters.
Yeah.
But apparently in Denmark, since the year 2000, so the past quarter century, the volume of letters has declined by 90%. Back then, 1.4 billion pieces of letter or mail were handled, but now that's dropped to 110 million. And all the facilities that they've shrunk from 15. They've had numerous, but over the past 15 years, they've reduced to just one left. And obviously because of digitalization. And a third of the workforce has been let go as well. So they're focusing now more on parcel business. So not just small letters and postcards, but rather big parcels and things that are shipped in boxes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
그래요. 2000년대부터 지금까지 편지의 양이 덴마크에서 90% 이상 줄어들었다고 합니다. 그래서 이제는 아예 이 국영 우편국의 서비스를 편지 배달 서비스에서 소포 사업으로 전환을 하기로 한 거죠.
Yeah. So no more mail. You can't even use the mail service.
Oh, it's very
Yeah.
sad.
So all those philatelists out there, if you're a stamp lover, you should hold on to your stamps, I guess, in Denmark because
Yeah,
you won't be
yeah.
able to use them.
그러게 말이에요. 자, 표현을 좀 볼까요? Shifting its focus.
Yeah, so like we said, PostNord is shifting its focus from mail to parcels, meaning that it's changing its attention where its priorities are. And you can use this in a variety of situations as well.
Exactly. Shifting이라는 것은 옮겨간다 이런 뜻이 있어요. So in Moana, I don't know if you've watched it.
No.
거기 보면은 shapeshifter라는 닉네임이 붙은 마우이라는 반인이 있어요. 근데 마우이가 shapeshifter라는 이유는 뭐냐면은 언제든지 형태를 바꿀 수 있어요. He can become an eagle or a fish or a person or whatever. You know, he can change his shape.
Yeah.
그래서 shape shifter인데 shifting이 이렇게 바꾼다, 옮긴다 이런 뜻이 있는 거죠.
Yeah, you can look at your computer keyboard and there's a shift key,
Yes.
right? When you have to toggle through different things when you're
Yeah.
changing, right?
그러네요. shift 키 누르고 나서 그 다음에 각종 아이콘들 별표라든지 뭐 샵이라든지 이런 거 누르면은 그게 이제 변환이 되죠. 그
Yeah.
아래 거나 위에 걸로.
And that began back with the typewriter because typewriters had to, if they had to shift to the upper hammer, I guess it's called. That's why it's called the shift key.
Exactly. 그래서 shifting focus라는 것은 지금 중점을 옮겨가는 거예요. 지금 얘기를 하고 있는 게 덴마크의 PostNord라는 우편국이 그동안에는 주력 업무가 우편 배달 서비스였는데 이제는 거기에서 뭐로 바꾸느냐? 소포 사업으로 바꾸게 됩니다. Why are they doing that? Because it's more profitable.
Yes, because it brings more financial gain or benefit. It's more advantageous for them to do it because these money-making ventures, anything you do, would have to be profitable. That's the whole reason they exist.
Profit가 수익인데요. Profitable 하면은 수익성이 있다. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Denmark's national postal service, PostNord, will end 4 centuries of letter deliveries by year's end, shifting its focus to the more profitable parcel business. Now let's move on to the final headline.
The top Korean baseball league has drawn over 10 million spectators for the second consecutive year, clearing every million mark in record pace so far this season.
한국 프로야구 KBO 리그가 2년 연속 1,000만 관중을 돌파한 가운데 올 시즌 지금까지 놀라운 속도로 100만 명 단위의 최소 경기 관중 달성 기록을 전부 깬 것으로 나타났습니다. Sorry. Tell us more.
Yeah, the popularity of baseball is continuing to grow here in Korea. You know, there's 10 clubs in the KBO. So 10 million fans means that each club brings in an average of about, or has already brought in an average about 1 million fans. And we still have more than a month left to go in the regular season. So prior to Saturday, this 10 million mark was set on Sunday. Last year, record attendance was just under 11 million. So the KBO is on pace to set another record this year. They're on that pace. They passed the 10 million mark in 671 games last year, but they did that in 587 games this year. So we're continuing to see sellout crowds across the country. It's interesting the way attendance figures are tallied here because if you go to a Korean baseball game, you see there's a home side and there's a large away side as well. But if you go, let's say in the US, typically about 95% of the stadium is just for the home team.
Interesting.
But in any case, a lot of people are going to the stadium, and it's very common to see on the subway now. A lot of people wearing jerseys heading to the game with all their merchandise on.
Absolutely. 계속해서 이렇게 그 프로야구를 보러 가는 관중의 수가 늘고 있다는 얘기잖아요. 근데 여기서 이런 표현을 썼어요. Clearing every million mark.
Yeah, so there's been a tally at every million. So 1 million fans, 2 million fans, 3 million, all the way to 10 million fans. And they've continued to clear that mark. So when you clear a mark, you overtake it. Think of a hurdle.
Okay.
If you're overtaking a hurdle, that means you're surpassing that sort of milestone. So if you clear the 10-year mark in your wedding or your marriage, I guess you should say, that means you've passed 10 years or your 10-year anniversary.
Sometimes on computer games, I think when you get through a level, it will say level clear.
Level clear, yeah. So that means you've completed that step, I guess you could say, in that journey.
자, clear every million mark는 100만, 이 million 단위마다 기록을 새로 세웠다는 거겠죠. 경신했다. 그래서 100만, 100만, 200만, 300만 이렇게 쭉쭉쭉쭉 올라가고 있는데 그 기록을 계속 깨고 있는 거고요. 속도도 언급이 되고 있는데 in record pace.
Yeah, so if you're doing it at a record pace or in record pace, it's a speed or rate that's faster than ever before. That's why it's a record, faster than previous records.
Not in a record pace, but just in record pace.
In record pace, in this case, you could say so, or you could say on record pace as well.
아하, in or on record pace는 기록적인 속도로, so very quickly, in other words. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The top Korean baseball league has drawn over 10 million spectators for the second consecutive year, clearing every million mark in record pace so far this season.
The city of Seoul has announced plans to launch the nation's first self-driving shuttle buses as early as next month, operating on a 4.8-kilometre route between Cheonggye Plaza and Gwangjang Market at speeds below 30 kilometers per hour.
서울시가 이르면 다음 달부터 국내 최초로 운전석 없는 자율주행 셔틀버스를 도입한다고 발표했습니다. 이 버스는 청계 광장부터 광장시장까지 왕복 4.8km 구간을 시속 30km 이하로 달리게 됩니다. Tell us more, Paul.
Well, this is really exciting for those visiting the area and wanting to get a free ride. They're going to be two 11-seater shuttle buses. They're going to go from Cheonggye Plaza, which is near Gwanghwamun Station, all the way to Cheonggye Oga. So it's quite a distance. It's only going to be available on weekdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., not on the weekends or on public holidays, because that's when the Cheonggye Chun roads are designated as car-free. Yeah. So you will have to walk or find other forms of transport. It's going to be free at first, but then it will become a paid service.
I think for a year or so it's going to be free.
So take advantage of it while it's free, but I think it's a useful service to have. And if you're worried about safety, they are going to be doing safety verification tests during the trial run that already started before they officially open, before they officially start operating in September.
그래요. 바로 며칠 전부터 이제 시범 운행 중이고요. 이제 곧 9월 정도부터 정식 운행이 시작될 것으로 이렇게 예상이 됩니다. 아까 얘기하신 것처럼 주중에만 운행을 할 거고요. 오전 10시부터 오후 5시까지. So it's going to avoid the really congested hours, the busy commuting hours.
Or when it's dark, late at night. So for those who are worried about self-driving vehicles, I think they're taking proper precautions to make sure everybody is safe.
좋네요. 네, 출퇴근 시간은 일부러 피한 거 알 수 있겠죠. 오전 10시부터 오후 5시까지 청계 광장에서 청계 오가까지 이렇게 운행을 하는데 굉장히 천천히 시속 30km 미만으로 이렇게 달릴 거라고 하고요. 무료니까 1년 동안, 1년 정도 무료라고 하죠.
네.
그러고 나서는 이제 유료로 전환을 할 것 같은데 또 기회가 되시는 분들 타면 좋을 것 같아요. I've seen pictures and it's very small and it looks adorable.
Yes, I will also say that if you have the time to walk from Cheonggye Plaza all the way to Cheonggye Oga is a great walk.
맞아요.
It's a beautiful little stream. I'm so glad they got rid of the overpass. And now we have this fantastic spot of nature in the middle of the city.
맞아요. 자, 안전요원은 탑승을 할 거라고 하고요. 그렇지만 운전석 자체가 없으니까 운전자도 당연히 없습니다. 저도 기회가 되면 타고 싶은데 아마 굉장히 인기일 것 같아요.
그럼요.
It's going to be quite hard to get on, I would imagine.
Which is why I suggest walking.
Let's have a look at this expression, to launch something.
Yes, you can launch a boat, you can launch a rocket, you can launch a missile, meaning you're setting it off, you're firing it or getting it going. And it's the same when we launch a service or we launch an operation. We're starting it, we're beginning it. And it suggests it's not beginning slowly, it's going to go bang and off.
Like a rocket.
Exactly.
로켓 발사를 영어로 launch a rocket, 로켓 발사하다 이렇게 얘기하는데요. 이 launch라는 동사를 제품 출시하다 아니면 무언가를 운행하기 시작하다 할 때도 많이 써요. So in this case, we're talking about a vehicle, a bus that has no driver. This is going to be launched as early as September.
That's right.
And how fast or how slow is it going to run?
Well, at speeds below 30 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
And when we use this phrase at speeds below, we can also use the sister phrase at speeds above. At speeds below means it will travel under this speed. In this case, under 30 kilometers. If it was at speeds above 30 kilometers, it would be 30 kilometers or faster.
그렇죠. At speeds below 30 kilometers per hour라고 하면은 시속 30km 아래로 달릴 것이다가 되겠습니다. So school zones, they require drivers to drive at speeds below 30 kilometers per
Yes.
hour. That's the speed that this bus will be traveling on. Let's have a look at the headline one more time. The city of Seoul has announced plans to launch the nation's first self-driving shuttle buses as early as next month, operating on a 4.8-kilometer route between Cheonggye Plaza and Gwangjang Market at speeds below 30 kilometers per hour. Okay, let's move on to the next headline.
The National Museum of Korea has drawn more than 4 million visitors so far this year, putting it on track to reach a historic milestone in annual attendance, according to museum officials.
올해 국립중앙박물관의 누적 관람객이 400만 명을 돌파한 가운데 이런 추세라면 연간 관람객 수 역대 최다 기록을 경신할 것으로 보인다고 박물관 측이 밝혔습니다. Tell us more, Paul.
It's record-breaking, and it's really, really positive to see so many people visiting the National Museum. This is from January through to August 20th. We have 4,073,006 visitors. Last year, it was only 2.33 million. So it's 1.7 times higher, almost double the amount. And it's not just domestic visitors, it's international visitors. It's only the second time we've reached 4 million in a year. 2023, there were 4.18 million visitors, and that made it sixth among museums and galleries around the world in terms of visitors. And it looks like we're going to go way past that. It's still summer. There's still autumn and winter to go. The museum opened in 1945. We've not seen anything like this there. We're going to be breaking records.
Is it thanks to K-pop and K-culture and K-dramas?
I would say that's partly it. Of course, we have to give that credit, but I will say that Korean art and Korean traditional culture is interesting of itself. And I got into it way before K-pop or K-drama or K-film was a big deal, though K-pop Demon Hunters probably has something to do with
I'm
it.
sure it has a lot to do with it. 그래요. 올해 벌써 누적 관람객이 400만 명을 돌파했는데 작년 같은 기간에는 한 230만 명이 방문을 했다고 하니까 상당히 많이 늘었네요. So if it keeps going this way, it's on track to reaching a milestone.
Yeah, a historic milestone. And if you're on track to do something, it is likely you will do it. You're on the right path, or you're going at the right speed, or in the right direction. You should hit the target, as it were.
그렇죠. 지금 같은 추세라면은 이런 방향으로 갈 것이다. On track to 어디라고 하면은 어디를 향해 지금 순조롭게 가고 있다라는 뜻이 되겠죠. 그래서 또 하나의 기록을 세울 것으로 예상이 됩니다. We're talking about annual attendance.
Yes, and annual means yearly, every year. Attendance is the number of people who come visit. In American schools, at the start of the day, they take attendance.
They do.
In the UK, we take the register.
Yeah.
But that means checking the number of students there. So here, annual attendance is the number of visitors each year.
맞아요. 지금 얘기했던 take attendance는 미국 학교에서 출석, 부를 때 쓰는 표현이고요. 영국에서는 표현이 좀 다른데요. take the register라고 합니다. 자, attendance가 이렇게 사람들이 얼마나 왔느냐를 가리키는 단어이기 때문에 이 경우에는 방문객 수가 될 거고 annual, A-N-N-U-A-L, 연간. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼까요? The National Museum of Korea has drawn more than 4 million visitors so far this year, putting it on track to reach a historic milestone in annual attendance, according to museum officials.
India's so-called garbage cafes, where individuals can exchange a kilogram of plastic waste for a full meal, are emerging across the country, aiming to simultaneously combat plastic pollution and address food insecurity.
인도에서 플라스틱 쓰레기와 기아라는 두 가지 문제를 동시에 해결할 방법으로 플라스틱 1kg을 가져오면 이를 한 끼 식사로 교환해주는 일명 쓰레기 카페가 인도 전역에 등장하고 있다는 소식입니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, the Saja boys are encouraging us to drink soda pops, but what do you do with the bottles, Sue? You take them to the garbage cafe. It's a brilliant idea. It started in Ambikapur in central India in 2019. Their slogan is more the waste, better the taste. And if you bring in a kilo of plastic waste, you get a meal. So you get rice, you get 2 curries, vegetable curries, you get dal, you get roti, you get salad, you get pickles. You get a proper feast. And the idea is that we're combating plastic waste. We're getting it off the streets and out of the landfills. But also for those who can't afford a proper meal, it's a chance to go and gather some plastic and then get fed. So for low-income families, for those who are homeless, for those who collect scrap and waste for a living, and it's made a big difference to that part of India. They've collected 23 tons of plastic since 2019, and now it's spreading around the country. These garbage cafes, which are not garbage, they're a very good idea, are going, all around the place. And maybe we need 1 or 2 here for all those soda pops.
Yeah, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say. You're recycling plastic and you're also keeping the people of India full.
Exactly, with delicious curry.
Yeah. So 2 curries, if you give 1 kilogram's worth of plastic, that's, I guess, enough for 2 people, right?
Well, no, it's, normally in India, if you've ever gone to a restaurant, for example, and ordered the thali, which is where you get lots of little bowls of things.
Oh,
so it's very common, like in side dishes in Korea, that you have several curries. So you'll have 2 different vegetable curries, and then you have dal, which is a lentil or a bean curry.
Oh, I see. So this is for more than 2 people then?
No, this is 1 person.
Oh, it's still for 1 person?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But small portions?
Yeah.
I see what you
But
mean.
like with Korea with side dishes, you're not getting heaps and heaps of curry. You get a little of this, a little of that.
그렇군요. 자, 플라스틱 1kg어치를 가져오면은 이 garbage cafe에서는 그거를 음식으로 교환을 해주는 건데요. 뭐 여러 가지를 줄 수 있네요. 뭐 쌀과 그다음에 채소 커리, 달, 로티, 샐러드, 그다음에 이제 기본 피클 같은 거. Okay, let's have a look at to combat plastic pollution.
Yes, so plastic pollution is plastic waste that is causing problems for the environment, causing pollution. And if we're combating it, we're fighting against it. We're dealing with it. We're solving whatever problem it is. If we're combating something, it's usually something that is a danger to us or that is causing problems for us, and therefore we have to fight against it.
To combat as a verb, to fight. 이런 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 아마 굉장히 유명한 브랜드 중에 뭐 벌레를 이렇게 퇴치하는 요 브랜드도 이런 이름이 있었던 것 같은데, if my memory serves me right. 그래서 그 combat라는 단어가 여기서 쓰였어요. 무엇을 싸우느냐? Plastic pollution. 플라스틱 오염을 싸운다라고 한다는 건 여기서 막는다는 뜻이겠죠. What about to address food insecurity?
Well, food insecurity is not having enough to eat, not having a guaranteed 3 meals a day. So you and I, Sue, I think we are food secure.
Yeah.
We don't worry about feeding ourselves and our families. However, if you suffer from food insecurity, maybe you don't know when you're getting your next meal or whether you'll be able to have enough to keep you healthy. And if you're addressing a problem, addressing a thing, it's very similar to combat without the violence, meaning you're dealing with it in some way. But food insecurity is not something that's that's attacking us. It's a problem we're dealing with. So rather than combat, address is the right term to use here, meaning we're going to sort it out. We're going to deal with the problem. You can also address someone. I'm addressing you now, meaning I'm speaking to you.
To address someone or to address something, address. 이게 주소라는 뜻이 아니고요. 여기서는 어떤 문제를 다룬다. 해결한다라는 뜻이 있어서 food insecurity, 식량 불안, 그러니까 식량 문제
네.
네, 그런 것들을 해결하기 위한 방안이란 뜻이겠죠. 이제 식량 문제 중에서도 가장 이제 최고 수준의 문제를 보통 famine, 기아라고 하는데요. 이렇게 또 의역을 해봤습니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. India's so-called garbage cafes, where individuals can exchange a kilogram of plastic waste for a full meal, are emerging across the country, aiming to simultaneously combat plastic pollution and address food insecurity. Here's our next headline.
A Korean research team has developed the world's first AI-powered device to detect varroa mites, parasitic pests that attack and feed on honeybees inside hives.
인공지능 AI를 이용해 꿀벌 응애를 찾아내는 장비를 세계 최초로 국내 연구진이 개발했습니다. 꿀벌 응애는 벌집 속 꿀벌을 공격해 숙주로 삼는 기생 진드기를 가리킵니다. Oh, okay. So these are parasitic pests. Tell us more.
Yeah, these varroa mites are not very nice. They basically work their way into hives of bees, of honeybees, and then they attack and feed on them, which means they cause damage to the bees in the hives, but they can also transmit deadly viruses. They're the most destructive pest when it comes to honeybees all around the world, and they're the leading cause of these mass die-offs that we have in winters in recent years. And so, this research team at Kangwon National University, along with the Rural Development Administration, have developed this way of checking for these mites very quickly. Normally, with the old-fashioned method, it takes 30 minutes to check a hive. With this one, with this device, it takes 30 seconds.
Wow.
And it's got an accuracy rate of about 97.8%. And it's not just these mites. It can also check for 16 other types of diseases and abnormalities when it comes to bees, including issues with their wings, infections, larval disorders, and can give you, whether it's in a recommended for monitoring, caution, or intensive treatment, gives you a level of danger to the bees.
Yeah. In a very short amount of time, they're
It's
able
incredible.
to do so much more.
I sometimes have bad things to say about AI, but when it comes to devices like this, I think this is absolutely brilliant.
기존에는 이제 벌집을 스캐닝해서 거기에 이 꿀벌 응애가 있는지 없는지 찾아내려면 한 30분 정도가 걸렸대요. 그런데 이 새로운 AI 기술을 이용한 방법을 통해서는 30초 만에 찾아낼 수 있다고 합니다. Alright, let's have a look at AI-powered device.
Yes, so a device is some kind of machine or some kind of invention. In this case, it's like a little computer with sensors. And if it's AI-powered, that doesn't mean AI is the battery. It means AI is controlling it, is doing all the things in that sense of powering it.
AI 기반의 장치다. It's an AI-powered device. Now, what are parasitic pests?
Well, pests are nuisance animals or insects. So, for example, for farmers, they might be rats and mice running through the fields eating their crops. For honeybees, it's these mites. For us, it's mosquitoes and cockroaches and other things. But the really horrible word here is parasitic.
Yeah.
Because the verb form parasite, if something is a parasite or is parasitic, it feeds off its host. So it attaches itself in some way inside or out and then takes energy or food or something away from its host. Very different to a symbiotic relationship, which is where you help each other. There are birds that will sit on crocodiles all day long and clean their teeth, pick things out.
That's good.
They have a symbiotic relationship. If you have a worm or some kind of horrible thing inside you, that's a parasitic relationship. You get nothing from it.
Right.
They're getting everything.
그래요. 우리가 영화 Parasite, 기생충을 통해서 이 단어 너무나 잘 알고 있죠. 근데 parasitic가 그 형용사 형태인데 그 기생하는 그런 뜻이겠죠. 스펠링 알려주시겠어요?
Oh, yes. Parasitic.
parasitic. 자, 무엇이 기생하느냐? pest. P-E-S-T. 이 경우에는 해충인데요. 이게 아까 얘기한 것처럼 이제 무언가 아주 성가신 것을 가리키기 때문에 때로는 밭에 있는 쥐가 될 수도 있고요.
네.
아니면은 우리 또 어떤 때는 새들이 와서 모이 먹고 그러면 그 새한테도 페스트라고 할 수 있어요?
Absolutely. If they're
괜찮아요?
eating the crops, pigeons are often considered to be
비둘기도
pests.
페스트가 될 수 있고 사람한테도 쓸 수 있나요?
Of course, yes.
비유적으로.
You have different kinds of pests, and actually there are some criminal terms, certainly used in the UK, the use of the word pest there, someone who's bothering other
그렇죠.
people.
상당히 성가신 거고 거길 좀 넘어서서 지금은 얘기한 건 범죄까지도 저지르고 그럴 때 비유적으로 페스트라고 부를 수 있군요.
Yeah. I think this is a word also that can get people confused, especially if they like Albert Camus.
Oh.
Because you think of la peste, which means plague.
Right,
so this
right.
word we hear a lot, we're referring to Camus, but that's actually different.
That's different.
That's the French term for plague.
그래요. 자, 그리고 우리가 이제 기왕 기생충 얘기가 나왔으니까 숙주라는 단어도 함께 알아두면 좋겠죠? 영어로는 숙주는 host라고 합니다.
Yeah, and another one. This is a really horrible thing that you can use. Be very careful about this language. Some people do have a parasitic relationship. Yeah, and that's when people are maybe using other people, getting things from them, but actually doing nothing in return.
I have a movie-related question. I
yes.
think you're the only one who can maybe answer this.
I'll do my best.
There was a movie called
Yes.
The Host, I believe.
There was directed by Bong Joon-ho.
Oh, was it by Bong Joon-ho?
Yes.
So, okay, now I can see the connection. But I was going to ask you, because I didn't watch the movie, but is it about like a host of a parasite?
Well, you're getting into a long conversation about
Okay.
who the host is, whether
Maybe
the
I
host is
shouldn't
the
have-
city, and whether the parasite is the monster, or maybe it's the American authorities who are pouring toxic chemicals
But
down
that
the
is
drain.
the meaning of the word, is it not?
Yeah,
It's not
so-
like the host of a party or
No,
anything.
no. Here we
Yeah.
have the host of a parasite.
Okay,
yes.
that is the meaning then.
It can be,
아하.
yes.
그래요. 그 영화의 우리말로는 뭐였는지 지금 잘 생각이 안 나는데 봉준호 감독의
괴물 아니었어요?
괴물.
네네네.
맞아요. 괴물. 근데 영어로는
The host.
숙주. host, the host 이렇게 제목이 나와 있어서 굉장히 궁금했어요. 근데
Yeah.
사실 아직 좀 창피하지만 아직 보지 못해가지고 어떤 내용인지 잘 모르겠는데 그래서 물어본 겁니다.
Yeah, well, I
네.
think if you look at a lot of Bong Joon-ho's films have social and political commentary and look at society and capitalism and other aspects like that. And I think both The Host and Parasite do deal with certain issues that Seoul has faced in the past and in the present.
It's interesting because I guess there's a theme going on with director Bong.
Yes, he
had
likes
the host,
monsters, whether
and then he
they're
had the parasite.
big monsters or humans.
그래요. 자, 좋습니다. 그럼 다시 한번 헤드라인 읽어볼게요. A Korean research team has developed the world's first AI-powered device to detect varroa mites, parasitic pests that attack and feed on honeybees inside hives. Let's move on to the final headline.
Roger Federer, the Swiss tennis legend who retired in 2022, has officially joined the Billionaire Athletes Club as its seventh member, with a net worth estimated at $1.1 billion, according to Forbes.
2022년에 은퇴한 스위스 출신의 전설적인 테니스 선수 로저 페더러가 스포츠 선수 중 7번째로 억만장자 반열에 올랐습니다. 경제 전문지 포브스 집계에 따르면 페더러의 순자산은 11억 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 1조 5,200억 원으로 추산됩니다. Tell us more.
What's interesting is there are other more successful players of tennis who have earned more money through prizes, through winning tournaments and competitions, but Federer has done all sorts of sponsorships and other business ventures, and that means he's been the highest paid tennis player for 16 years straight. He's also the second tennis player to reach that billionaire status. The first one was Ion Ezirak from Romania. And so these billionaire athletes, it's Michael Jordan, it's Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Junior Bridgman, Tiger Woods. So they're earning a lot of money, but not necessarily from the sport, maybe things related to the sport or advertising sponsorship and so on. The highest paid active tennis player right now is Carlos Alcaraz with $48.3 million earned over the past year.
Wow.
So it's a big payday for tennis players. And congratulations to Roger Federer, who's living the high life.
Exactly. 자, 예리하신 청취자분들은 근데 여기서 의문점이 하나 생길 수 있어요. billion이라는 단어가 우리말로는 10억이거든요.
네.
그런데 이제 billionaire는 우리가 보통 10억만장자라고 하지 않고 그냥 억만장자라고 하잖아요.
Yeah.
그래서 뭐지? 왜 빌리언은 10억인데? 근데 이건 아마 그냥 통상적으로 우리가 10억만장자 이런 단어를 쓰지 않았기 때문에 여기서 그 단어를 쓰기가 좀 어색하니까 그냥 우리가 억만장자라고 표현을 한다. 이렇게 보시면 될 것 같아요. 하지만 빌리언에어는 10억 이상 버는 사람이어야 됩니다. 그러니까 억만장자라고 했지만 1억대를 버는 사람은 빌리언에어가 아니라는 거죠.
Yeah. This is what confused me when I was
Yeah.
looking at the script this morning and I saw the Korean translation for billionaire. I had to ask Sue, hang on, is this correct? Because yeah, the literal translation would be shipok.
그렇죠.
But here, yeah, these are the terms we use.
맞아요.
But it's also because the Korean counting system is so different to the English
know.
counting system.
맞아요. 우리의 1억은 영어로 하면은 100 million이거든요. 근데 100 millionaire 이런 건 없죠.
No, because
없어요.
we like to count in bigger numbers. So we go from 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 1 billion.
그렇죠. 자, 이렇게 공 3개마다 영어로는 새로운 단위가 생겨요. 그래서 처음에 공 3개일 때는 1000, 그다음에 million, billion, trillion 이렇게 올라가는
네.
거죠. 그래서 billionaire는 공 9개, 그러니까 10억 달러 이상 있는 사람을 얘기합니다. trillionaire는 그러면은 1조 이상이 되겠네요. millionaire는 우리 잘 알고 있죠. 백만장자.
Sure. Yeah.
이거는 우리가 그냥 똑같이 100만 그대로 옮겨서 얘기를 하고 있는데 Alright, Roger Federer is a billionaire. Now, what does net worth mean?
Ooh, so your worth is the value that you have in terms of the money you have, your investments, your property, whatever it may be, your stocks and shares. And your net worth is your value after you take away everything that you owe. All your debts, all the taxes, everything else, that's what you're left with. So there are some people who may claim to be millionaires or billionaires, but in fact, they have a lot of debt. So their net worth is actually less than we might think it is.
In economics, if you hear the word net, 우리말로는 순 뭐뭐뭐
Yeah.
이게 경제학 용어거든요.
As opposed to gross.
맞아요. 저 그 단어 지금 막 언급하려고 그랬는데 경제학에서 gross라는 단어 G-R-O-S-S를 들으면 총이라는 뜻이고요. net는 순 이렇게 우리가 번역을 하죠. 그래서 net worth는 순 자산이라고 할 수 있습니다. 뭐 순 가치 직역을 하면 그런데 순 자산이죠. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Roger Federer, the Swiss tennis legend who retired in 2022, has officially joined the Billionaire Athletes Club as its 7th member, with a net worth estimated at $1.1 billion, according to Forbes. All right, well, that's it for the headlines with Paul Matthews.
Consumer sentiment rose in August for the 5th consecutive month, reaching its highest level in more than 7 years, boosted by government-issued consumption coupons and rising stock assets in a bullish market, according to the Bank of Korea.
한국은행은 8월 국내 소비자 심리지수가 정부의 민생회복 소비 쿠폰 지급과 주식시장 호조에 힘입어 5개월 연속 상승하며 7년 7개월 만에 최고치를 기록했다고 발표했습니다. Tell us more.
Well, this is good news. I think a lot of the, news cycle wouldn't have us know this, but actually optimism is up. According to the Bank of Korea, with figures yesterday, the consumer sentiment index rose to 111.4 in August, and that is up from the previous month. If we look at a baseline of 100 on this index, 111 means that we are over that. That means there are more people that are thinking positively than people thinking negatively.
So if the consumer sentiment index or the 소비자 심리지수 is under 100,
Right.
that means there are more pessimists than optimists?
That's right. That means that there are more pessimists, and that means that people are feeling down or people are feeling negative. People are feeling not so hopeful about the economy and about business in the country. But in this case, we are up. And that means, people are likely spending more. People are actually getting out, using their money, and feeling positive about the economy.
물가에 대해서 부정적으로 비관론적으로 보는 사람보다 낙관적으로 보는 사람들이 많다라는 얘기네요. 이 100이라는 기준점을 봤을 때 이거보다 높으면은 there are more optimists than pessimists, 낮으면은 there are more pessimists than optimists. 근데 지금 111 정도라고 얘기를 해주셨습니다.
Right. So the number itself doesn't mean anything. It's not like your weight on a scale. It doesn't have any absolute meaning on its own. But relatively speaking, if you look at the baseline of 100,
Yeah.
that means more people are feeling up about the economy, which
Yeah.
is a good thing.
Exactly. One of those reasons was the government issued consumption coupons.
Yes, these vouchers, these government-issued consumption coupons that were given out to most Korean nationals, as I understand it, have spurred on spending. And so, if you go around, you see these signs on
Yeah.
different small and medium-sized businesses that say, we welcome these government coupons. And that is encouraging people to spend, perhaps buy more food for their family, buy more treats for their kids, and so on. And this is one of the reasons that the Bank of Korea is saying that people are feeling more optimistic and energetic about the economy.
그래요. 소비자 심리 지수가 오른 원인 중에 하나가 바로 정부의 민생 회복 소비 쿠폰 지급이다. 그래서 정부가 발행한 government-issued 소비 쿠폰, consumption coupons 이렇게 표현을 하고 있는데요. 우리 청취자분들도 아마 많은 분들이 민생 회복 소비 쿠폰을 받아서 또 이제 유용하게 쓰셨을 것 같아요.
I think so. I see the signs everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not eligible to receive them myself, but I see that, my Korean friends certainly have received them and are using them
Yeah.
and enjoying them. How about you,
Exactly.
Sue?
I was one of those people that have enjoyed using it. I've used it all up now.
It's no longer. No more coupons. That's good.
Yeah. Another reason was the bullish market.
Yes, bullish, just like the animal, bull, B-U-L-L, a bullish market indicates a strong market in which people feel, again, optimistic,
Yeah.
feel, in a simple way, happy and, hopeful about the economy. Usually we use bullish specifically only to talk about finance or the markets and business in your country.
I think someone told me that the reason why we talk about a really good stock market as being a bullish market is because when a bull fights or strikes, they have this motion where they face their tusks and their heads up. They go up.
Right?
So when things are looking up, you say that it's a bullish market. And then bears, when they strike, apparently they strike down with their paws. So I don't know if this is true.
I think there's different stories or
Okay.
like legends for why, the bull market and the bear market are terms that we use today. But certainly one thing that we all know is the bull being the symbol,
Yeah.
in fact, of Wall Street. So if you look at, just sort of news footage,
Yeah.
and if you go to New York, you can see, that
Right.
the raging bull
Exactly.
as a symbol sort of Wall Street and sort of as finance in general.
Yeah. Did I say tusk earlier on? I know
You
that
did say
bulls
tusk.
don't have tusks. I was getting confused with elephants for some reason.
Bulls
No,
have horns, right?
Yes. Tusks are different. Yeah. No.
Tusks are for elephants.
Yeah, there's no such thing
and
as an elephant market.
for rhinos.
Yes.
Right.
Right. 그래요. 이제 보통은 주가가 상승세일 때 우리가 bull market, 그다음에 하락세일 때는 bear market라고 표현을 하죠.
Right. And we should also point out that this term specifically bullish, though for the markets and for finance, we use it to mean a positive thing, we don't really use it to describe a person.
Oh no.
In that case, it might have an opposite meaning of
Yeah.
sort of being stubborn or, difficult to work with. So specifically for the markets.
For the market. 여기서 market라는 것은 stock market, 주식 시장을 얘기하고 있는 거죠.
Specifically the market and also, finance in general.
네. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Consumer sentiment rose in August for the fifth consecutive month, reaching its highest level in more than 7 years, boosted by government-issued consumption coupons and rising stock assets in a bullish market, according to the Bank of Korea. Now here's our second headline.
The cumulative number of patients receiving treatment for heat-related illnesses nationwide has surpassed 4,000, the highest level recorded since 2018, according to the National Disease Control Agency.
올해 우리나라 누적 온열 질환자 수가 4,000명을 넘어서면서 2018년 이후 최고 수준을 보이고 있다고 질병관리청이 밝혔습니다. Tell us more.
All right, so this is just one of our first climate stories for today. I feel like we can't get through an episode without an extreme climate story. Here in Korea, as in much of the world, it seems like, our health is actually showing the effects of this extreme weather.
Yeah.
We have heat-related illnesses nationwide surpassing 4,000, and that is breaking its own record that was set in 2018, according to the government.
우리말로 이제 온열 질환자라는 표현을 우리가 많이 듣게 되고 또 쓰기도 하는데요. 영어로는 열과 관련된 heat related illnesses 이렇게
Right.
얘기를 하는군요.
It's a hyphenated compound adjective, so heat related. You can say something related. You're talking about that topic. In this case, we are using heat related illnesses to sort of talk about everything that a body might be affected by under the sun.
Exactly. Heat related illnesses는 온열 질환이고요. 온열 질환자 같은 경우에는 patients with heat-related illnesses 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있겠죠.
That's right. So, you did mention it's ever so slightly cooler, but
Yeah.
actually, there are still heat advisories going on nationwide. If you look at the peninsula, it's just red all over. And so with, the heat wave not really showing any signs of dying down, we have, these heat-related illnesses, heat stroke, you have all sorts of, skin problems that kids are, going to the pediatrician with. And at an extreme end, we have deaths, which are presumed to have been caused by heat-related illnesses, numbering at 26.
Now, what's a cumulative number? Because we're looking at 4,000 people in Korea. That's not this month or the past couple of months. It's so far this year.
Right. So when something accumulates, when something becomes a cumulative number, it means that it's the collected amount or number of something. So when you have a cumulative number, it doesn't mean it's just for this month. It's for the set period, and it doesn't reset. It's the sort of the whole, the aggregate
Yeah,
number.
exactly. aggregate도 비슷한 단어인데요. 누적이란 뜻입니다. cumulative. C-U-M-U-L-A-T-I-V-E. 동사 형태는 accumulate라고 해서 ACC 이렇게 시작되는 단어입니다. So yeah, it's unfortunate that so many people have been ill this year because of the heat. But
Right.
that's how hot it's been.
And not surprisingly, this is true for most extreme climate related stories. But the people who suffer the most are the people who sort of maybe perhaps don't have the resources to have indoor air conditioning, or for whatever reason are forced to work outside.
Yeah.
Perhaps in construction or as outdoor vendors. These are sort of the categories that bear the brunt of this heat.
Absolutely. We have another heat-related story coming up.
We'll talk about it again.
We will. 다시 한번 제가 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. The cumulative number of patients receiving treatment for heat-related illnesses nationwide has surpassed 4,000, the highest level recorded since 2018, according to the National Disease Control Agency.
A study finds that 2 years of exposure to heat waves can accelerate a person's biological aging by 8 to 12 days, with risks heightened for those without air conditioning or who work outdoors.
한 연구에서 폭염에 2년간 노출될 경우 신체 노화가 8일에서 12일 정도 가속화될 수 있으며 이런 점에서 에어컨이 없거나 야외에서 일하는 사람들이 특히 위험할 수 있다는 결과가 나왔습니다. Right, tell us more.
So this sort of naturally bleeds over from our previous climate story, two in a row. This particular story is about new research that was done in Taiwan that analyzed about 15 years of health data from about 25,000 adults in Taiwan and found that just 2 years of exposure to extreme heat waves could speed up a person's biological aging by 8 to 12 days.
Wow. But we've had more than 2 years of extremely hot summers.
Exactly. That's the point, right? So, or that's one of the points is 8 to 12 days. You could say, that's okay. That doesn't seem like that much. And, okay, so 2 years of heat waves, but actually in our lifetime, we've actually been exposed to longer decades of heat waves, and this seems to be continuing to be the case. The heat waves don't seem to be dying down. This extreme weather is going to continue. The Earth is only going to get hotter. So over a lifetime, if you calculate 8 to 12 days multiplied by how much extreme weather we are exposed to, that could mean we are living shorter lives.
그렇죠. 2년간 이렇게 아주 더운 날씨에 노출이 되면 우리의 신체 나이, 생물학적인 나이가 8일에서 12일 정도 더 노화가 된다고 하는데요. 우리가 2년만 노출되는 게 아니라 이게 3년, 4년, 5년 굉장히 긴 기간 동안 이렇게 폭염에 노출되는 경우들이 있잖아요. 그러면은 생물학적인 나이가 대체 며칠이나 더 노화가 된다는 것인가 상당히 우려가 됩니다. I guess you could say the cumulative number of years that we've been exposed to the heat could be decades in some cases, or, about 10 years for others.
Sure. It could be, for some people, since the day they were born, as the Earth has been getting hotter.
Yeah.
So, yes, the cumulative number of years that we have been exposed to these extreme weather patterns, according to these researchers, is actually aging us. You mentioned the biological age of, in this study. So it doesn't, that's important to mention, it doesn't mean that we are going to die like 8 to 12 days earlier, like this. It means that scientists take certain biological age markers. So they test your cells, they test your lungs, different things in your body like cholesterol, different markers, and they compare those numbers to people that are healthy, to a perfectly healthy, normal person, and see how much older you are by that standard.
So a really, really healthy person might be 40 or 50 years old, but their biological age could be 25 or 30,
Yes.
right? But you don't want it to go the other way around, where your biological age is way older than your actual age.
Right. So right now, Sue, you said actual age. We can also say your chronological age. So that's the actual age that you are on this earth. So you have your chronological or your actual age, but then you can get tested. Sometimes if you go to a skincare clinic, you can have your skin tested. They will tell you the age of your skin. So scientists take these different age markers to see how much older or younger you are than a healthy, normal person.
그렇죠. 우리의 실제 나이가 있고 그다음에 우리 어떤 신체 나이 아니면 생물학적인 나이가 있는데요. 실제 나이를 actual age 아니면 시간 순서대로라는 뜻의 chronological age라고 한다는 거네요. 생물학적인 나이는 biological age인데 여기 헤드라인에서는 aging, which means you are getting older. 그래서 생물학적 노화가 되겠고요. What about accelerating?
Accelerating, when something accelerates, this is a verb that means that something is getting faster, that something is increasing. Many times we use it to talk about the actual speed of something, but you can actually use it to describe something abstract like progress. So let's accelerate the progress of, this project or whatever. So it means for something to go faster.
Exactly. 더 빨라지다, 가속화하다. 다시 한번 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. A study finds that 2 years of exposure to heat waves can accelerate a person's biological aging by 8 to 12 days, with risks heightened for those without air conditioning or who work outdoors. Let's move on to the next headline.
Thailand will offer free domestic flights over the next 3 months to encourage travelers to venture beyond popular destinations like Bangkok and Phuket and discover lesser-known provinces that are rich with temples, unique cuisine, and under-visited beaches and islands.
태국이 오는 9월부터 11월까지 관광객을 대상으로 국내선 항공권을 무료로 제공한다고 발표했습니다. 태국 정부는 이로써 관광객들이 방콕과 푸켓 같은 인기 관광지를 넘어 사원과 독특한 요리, 사람들이 잘 모르는 해변과 섬들이 많은 그 외 덜 알려진 지역까지 방문하도록 장려한다는 계획입니다. Tell us more.
So this is great news if you have any plans to travel to Thailand, perhaps in the next couple of months. Thailand is one of our my husband and my happy places. We love going there a couple times a year.
Have you been to any of the lesser known places?
I would say probably not as far out as I would like to. We have a friend there, a local friend, who takes us out sort of outside of Bangkok to sort of, just sort of these unknown places, these little towns, I guess, these little villages. But I'd like to venture out a little bit more and be a little bit more adventurous by going to some of these unknown islands and beaches outside of the popular 3, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Phuket. And that's what the government of Thailand is hoping that you will do. They are going to, if this gets approved by their cabinet, give away free domestic flights for 200,000 lucky international visitors coming to or traveling to Thailand over the next 3 months.
So there is a cap on how many of these they're going to give out.
Right. And important to note, it hasn't been fully approved yet, but this is a whole push, a whole campaign called Buy International Free Thailand Domestic Flights that is trying to address the problem of travelers only going to the most popular areas. They really want to encourage people to get out and go to some of these less famous, unknown, but perhaps even more beautiful locations.
그래요. 일단 조건이 있습니다. There's a caveat. 근데 그 조건이 뭐냐면은 국제선으로 비행기를 타고 일단 태국에 도착을 한 관광객에 한해서 그다음에 국내선 항공권은 무료로 제공을 하겠다라는 거죠.
Right, and you have to have arrived by air. So, a lot of times if you're traveling in Southeast Asia, you might go overland, perhaps like through Cambodia or through another country on foot. But that is not going to make you eligible. You have to have flown in.
네. 뭐 차를 타서 국경을 넘어서 태국에 들어갔다든지 아니면 배를 타고 태국에 갔다든지 하면은 you are not eligible. 그러면은 이 자격 요건이 되지 않습니다. So the government wants people to go beyond popular destinations.
Right. Beyond, if you go beyond something, it means go past that marker or past that point. In this case, it's a physical destination. So beyond the popular places like Bangkok and Phuket, the government wants you to go past that and look outside that area.
자, 무엇을 넘어서서 beyond popular destinations, 잘 알려진 그런 여행지를 넘어 다른 lesser known 곳으로 가길 바란다. 잘 알려지지 않았다는 뜻이겠죠? Lesser known.
Right. Lesser known. It's hyphenated. Lesser known. It means it's just not as well known. It might mean that it's not as popular, but it doesn't have to mean that it's not as popular. But it's just not as known. It's not on the radar as much.
I think you can call these places hidden gems.
Yes, that shows that it doesn't mean it's not popular, but people just don't know about it as much. So a hidden gem is like, a little secret, like maybe a place that only a few people know of. The whole world doesn't know about it yet. But Thailand, as a government, wants you to go to these places, spend your money, and, help their economy.
덜 알려진 곳으로 가기를 태국 정부가 바라고 있습니다. 이게 정말 숨겨진 보석 같은 곳일 수 있어요. 그런 의미에서는 It's a hidden gem, G-E-M이라고도 합니다.
You know, Thailand being one of the most popular vacation destinations internationally does have an astounding number of visitors, international visitors every year. They hit 40 million, which is crazy in 2019. But after COVID, they really haven't been able to rebound and get back to those numbers. Their goal for this year was, I think, 39 million, which was already cut down. But they're far short of that. So the government really is trying to encourage people to visit and visit some of the lesser known gems.
Yeah. Well, check this out. If you plan on going to Thailand in the near future, maybe you can get some free domestic flights in there. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Thailand will offer free domestic flights over the next 3 months to encourage travelers to venture beyond popular destinations like Bangkok and Phuket and discover lesser-known provinces that are rich with temples, unique cuisine, and under-visited beaches and islands. Okay, let's move on to the final headline.
A Croatian freediver has set a new world record for the longest human breath hold underwater, achieving an astonishing 29 minutes and 3 seconds, nearly 5 minutes longer than the previous record set in 2021.
크로아티아의 한 프리다이버가 물속에서 가장 오래 숨을 참은 사람으로 기네스 세계 기록에 등재됐습니다. 이 남성의 기록은 무려 29분 3초로 2021년에 세워진 기존 기록보다 거의 5분이나 더 긴 것으로 알려졌습니다. Wow, okay, tell us about this person.
Just a uncomfortable story, even just to think about holding your breath for almost 30 minutes. But a man in Croatia has accomplished this and set a new world record for this longest human breath hold underwater of 29 minutes and 3 seconds. By doing this, he actually broke the previous record by 5 minutes. And that previous record, incidentally, was set by a fellow countryman.
Oh.
So another Croatian had done that back in 2021, but he beat it by over 5 minutes. So he blew it out of the water, literally.
So the new record holder's name is Vitomir Maricici. 근데 이제 궁금하실 수 있잖아요. 어떻게 30분가량을 숨을 참을 수가 있지? 하는데 이게 그냥 우리가 평소에 숨 참듯이 하면은 이런 시간이 나올 수 없다고 합니다. 그래서 그 순수 산소를 흡입을 해서 질소를 없애는 작업이 있대요. 이제 산소 탱크의 도움을 받는 것인데, 그래서 이 탈질소화라는 과정을 거쳐서 그 피 속에 있는, 혈중에 있는 산소의 양을 평소보다 한 5배 정도 늘리는 과정이 있다고 합니다. 그렇게 해서
Right.
거의 30분 정도 숨을 참게 됐는데요. 이 마리치치 씨가요, 이런 산소 탱크 도움 없이 했을 때는 그래도 꽤 긴 한 11분 정도 숨을 참았대요.
Right. So
still
even
amazing, yeah.
elite athletes or people who do this for a living that do it without the assistance of oxygen, I think the record is around 11 minutes and 35 seconds, which is also crazy.
It is,
That is
yeah.
also astonishing. Most normal people can't really go past 30 seconds.
Right.
At the minute mark, you start panicking underwater. And that's natural. That's your body's way of obviously trying not to die. But this Croatian man, Vitomir Maricic, he was able to accomplish this with the help of pure oxygen. So for 10 minutes before he started his feat, he inhaled this pure oxygen, like this, like, and flooded his lungs with this pure oxygen. Also, what that does is it chases the nitrogen out.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like he makes his lungs superhuman.
Right, exactly.
And because of that assistance, he was able to hold his breath for almost 30 minutes, which is still
crazy.
A very, very astonishing feat.
맞아요.
And he said it was very difficult. I guess you start, kind of shaking underwater, even with this assistance.
Yeah. 그래요. 일단 그러면 산소라는 단어는 영어로 oxygen,
Oxygen,
질소는 nitrogen.
nitrogen.
네, so you get rid of the nitrogen and you inhale pure oxygen.
Right.
순수 산소를 흡입, inhale 하는 것이고요.
One thing I think I found interesting about this is that people who do this, people who don't do this might say, that's cheating, or, oh, you didn't do it without help. But the people who do this for a living and try to set these records say it's not cheating. It's just a totally different category.
Right,
it's just a
right.
different sport when you use pure oxygen. So it's a little different.
그렇죠. 네. 산소 탱크 도움 없이 하는 것도 하나의 캐터고리이고
Right.
네, 거기선 한 11분 정도의 기록이 나왔고요. 그다음에 이제 산소 탱크 도움을 받았을 때도 완전히 다른 캐터고리로 인정을 해주는 것인데 기존에는 한 25분, 24분 그 정도 나왔나 봐요. 근데 이번에는 29분, 거의 30분 가량을 물속에서 숨을 참았다고 합니다. 와우. 표현을 좀 볼게요. The longest human breath hold underwater.
I think the interesting thing about this here, longest human breath hold, is the word hold
Yes.
is being used as a noun. So normally we think of hold to be to grab onto something, to to reach for something with your hand. But in this case, it's being used as a noun. So a human breath hold here is the act of having not breathed.
네. 그러니까 이 hold가 명사로서 참기라는 뜻이 있는데요. The longest human breath, 숨, hold, 참기. 어디서? Underwater.
Underwater.
네, 물속에서. And this is astonishing.
I think I've already used this adjective a few
Yeah.
times just in talking with you today. When something is astonishing, this is an adjective that we use to describe something that is very surprising, it's very impressive, or perhaps even hard to believe.
너무나 놀라운 거죠. 그런 것들을 astonishing이라고 합니다. A-S-T-O-N-I-S-H-I-N-G.
It's typically used in a positive way. It can be used in a dramatic way as well.
Yeah, very dramatic. Well, here's the headline again. A Croatian freediver has set a new world record for the longest human breath hold underwater, achieving an astonishing 29 minutes and 3 seconds, nearly 5 minutes longer than the previous record set in 2021. Well, that's it for the headlines with Janet Lee.
The number of one-person households in the nation exceeded 10 million for the first time last year, representing over 40% of all households, while the total population fell for the fifth consecutive year.
우리나라 1인 가구가 지난해 처음으로 1,000만 세대를 돌파하면서 전체 가구의 40%를 넘어섰습니다. 반면 인구 수는 5년 연속 감소세가 이어졌습니다. Let's talk about demographics.
Yeah, so households, there's over 10 million total households, and total households was 24 million, just over. But in terms of one-person households, that's now over 10 million, which is growing. So essentially, what we're saying is people that live alone are taking up a large portion of the demographic. They also say that two-person households have increased from 5.4 million to 6 million as well. So basically, households are shrinking, you could say, because not only that, but four-people households have shrunk considerably as well. So we're taking the population and living in more separate homes.
전체 가구 수는 그러니까 대략적으로 한 2,400만 가구가 되겠군요. 작년 기준으로. 인구 수는 어느 정도가 될까요? What about the total population in Korea, the registered population? I guess we're looking at around
51.22 million last year.
그래요. 5,100만 명, 이 조금 넘는 그런 정도의 인구가 작년에 기록이 됐습니다.
Yeah, so it is shrinking. The total population is shrinking a little bit.
그렇죠. 2020년 같은 경우에는 5,180만 명 정도였는데 지금은 이제 5,120만 명 정도로 조금씩 인구 수가 줄어들고 있네요. 그런데 이제 전체 가구 수 중에서 1인 가구가 40%나 차지한다는 게, 와, 상당히 많이 차지하고 있네요.
I'm guessing that more people are moving out to live alone earlier
Yeah.
in their life. I think, in Korea, it seemed like when I first got here 25 years ago, it seemed like people lived at home until they got married. Whereas I think there's more people that are, living alone single now. Whereas in North America, like people say, yeah, once you get out of high school, it's like, okay, get out of the house, go and fend for yourself now, learn to swim, sort of thing.
We're almost going in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at representing something.
If you represent something, then you could be a symbol of something to somebody else, or you could be doing something in their place. It could also just be verbatim, like this is what it is. Like in this particular case, it's saying, it represents over 40%, which basically is saying that it is over 40%.
무엇에 해당되다 아니면은 무엇을 대표하다가 되는데요. 지금 얘기했던 1000만 가구 정도가 1인 가구예요. 근데 그것이 무엇에 해당되느냐? That represents 40% of all households, 가구수 in Korea.
If you're in a court of law, then often you have a lawyer that represents you. Sure. They aren't actually you, but they're kind of making the decisions for you because they know that part of the world better than you would. Most people don't know the law the way lawyers do. So they represent you. They're making your decisions for you in your best interest.
그렇죠. 우리가 이제 일반 사람들은 법률에 대해서 잘 모르니까 변호인이 필요하잖아요. 변호인이 영어로는 someone who represents you legally. 법적으로 나를 대리해주는 사람. 그래서 이제 법률 대리인이라고 부를 수 있겠죠. 그럴 때도 영어로는 this person represents me. This lawyer represents someone. 이렇게 표현할 수 있겠네요. 그 다음에 예를 들어서 I would say Jason represents all sportscasters or English sportscasters. You don't just represent, you're at the top of your league there. But maybe you represent Canadian newscasters in Korea.
Sure.
Or, whatever it is that you are there for, you show a part of.
Yeah, it's an identity of sorts. It's part of who I am that makes me similar to the group that I'm representing.
You might make a speech and say, I'm here on behalf of the whole team or representing the whole team and I'd just like to say thank you to everyone. 이런 식으로 팀 대신해서 제가 인사드리겠습니다 할 때도 represent 써도 될 것 같아요. on behalf of라는 표현도 있지만 자, 그런 단어입니다. represent. What about the fifth consecutive year?
If we're talking about anything being consecutive, then we're talking about it being in a row. So it's saying the total population fell for the fifth consecutive year, which means that 5 years in a row, the population has gone down. So if there was 1 year in there where the population went up compared to the year before, then you can't say fifth consecutive because 1 year it wasn't consecutive.
consecutive는 연속인데 여기서 5년 연속으로를 for까지 붙여서 for the fifth consecutive year입니다. 그러니까 앞에 for는 그냥 FOR for고요. 연속으로 5년째 뭐뭐 하고 있다. For the fifth consecutive year. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The number of one-person households in the nation exceeded 10 million for the first time last year, representing over 40% of all households, while the total population fell for the fifth consecutive year. Let's move on to the next headline.
More than 300,000 women are expected to give birth in Korea this year, raising hopes for a possible turnaround in the country's prolonged fertility decline.
올해 국내에서 출산을 앞두고 있는 분만 예정자가 30만 명을 넘는 것으로 추정돼 그간 지속된 출산율 감소 추세에 전기가 마련될 거라는 기대가 커지고 있습니다. So that means there's currently more than 300,000 women who are pregnant right? So they're, due to give birth this year.
Yeah, so we're going to have a lot more babies, according to this. 7.4% from last year's number of 283. So it is going up considerably. And interestingly, the age group of the women that are most pregnant are the group from 30 to 34, with the share of 143,000. That's up 11,000 from the year before. They're followed by women aged between 35 to 39, and then women 25 to 29.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
People are getting married
Pregnant,
later and
yeah.
also having babies later. 그렇군요. 지금 이제 임신 중인 여성들의 나이대를 보니까 가장 많은 퍼센티지가 30세부터 34세 사이군요. 전통적으로는 사실 이제 20대 때 많이 났었잖아요. 우리 부모님 세대라든지.
Yeah.
근데 요즘에는 그렇지가 않습니다. 다음으로 가장 많은 퍼센티지를 차지한 연령대에 임신 중인 여성들은 바로 35세에서 39세. 그리고 3위가 25세에서 29세예요.
Yeah.
오, interesting.
And a considerable drop down. It's almost half. Like the 25 to 29 is almost half the number compared to 35 to 39.
Well, on the heels of our last story about how the population is declining, this one is a very hopeful story about how maybe the population will, increase over the next few years. So let's talk about raising hopes.
Yeah, your hopes is things that you want to happen, right? Hoping is a good thing, and it's an outcome that you would like to see. So if you raise hopes, then you're kind of being more optimistic. You're saying that these things that I'm hoping for, there seems to be a better chance that it might actually happen.
Raising hopes라는 것은요. 희망을 키우고 있다, 기대를 높이고 있다라는 뜻입니다. The difference between raising and rising is that when you're raising, someone is pulling it up, whereas something that's rising is doing it on its own, generally speaking. 자, 다음으로 a turnaround.
A turnaround is a change of direction. So if you think about a person that is facing one way and then they turn around, and then now they're facing the other direction. So in the same sort of way, you could be moving in one direction, and if you turn around, then you spin, and then now you're heading in a different direction. So a change of direction of sorts, and for something to literally just change often in a 180 turn.
180, 180도 도는 것처럼 완전히 상황이 바뀔 때 이게 turn around라는 명사를 쓸 수가 있어요. So maybe we'll see a turnaround in Korea's population.
Hopefully.
It's going down, but maybe it'll go up. Who knows?
I think they're still saying that the expected number of children per women in Korea was still 0.75.
It's still under one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still under one. So it still has a ways to go, but we'll be hopeful.
그래요. 뭐 당장 갑자기 우리나라 인구가 늘지는 않겠지만 그래도 약간의 희망이 있다. 작년에 비해서 그래도 어쨌든 출산 예정자의 수가 조금 더 많아서 그렇게 기대를 한답니다. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. More than 300,000 women are expected to give birth in Korea this year, raising hopes for a possible turnaround in the country's prolonged fertility decline.
Starting next month, airports will discontinue providing plastic bags and will instead offer insulation tape to travelers carrying spare batteries as part of enhanced in-flight safety regulations mandated by the Transport Ministry.
국토교통부가 강화된 기내 안전 규정을 의무화하면서 다음 달부터 보조 배터리를 갖고 비행기에 탑승하는 승객들은 공항에서 비닐봉투 대신 절연 테이프를 제공받게 될 예정입니다. Alright, so currently they offer plastic bags and anyone can take one if they have a spare battery or a battery pack. But from next month, they're going to get rid of the plastic bags and instead offer, sort of like duct tape.
Yeah,
It's like, insulation
insulation tape.
and that's apparently more effective. But you can still bring your own plastic bag if you want to. It's not, completely banned.
Yeah, and the reason, of course, we'd like to get rid of these single-use plastics because it is becoming an environmental problem. So part of the reason is environmental purposes, and I think part of it probably would be effectiveness, as mentioned, because insulation tape, it's probably going to be more effective than some plastics. I would imagine if you have the wrong plastic, it probably just be melted through quite easily.
Exactly. 그래요. 혹시 여러분도 이런 경험을 해보셨나요? 해외에 나가실 때 이제 보조 배터리가 있다라고 하면은 거기서 공항에서 비닐 봉지를 제공을 해주는 거죠. 지퍼럭 같은 거잖아요. 이제 우리 보통 부엌에서 쓰는 거 네, 이런 건데 이제 그거를 다음 달부터는 더 이상 제공하지 않고요. 그 대신에 이제 절연 테이프를 제공하게 됩니다. 그래서 총 4가지 방식 중에 하나로 앞으로는 탑승객들이 자신의 보조 배터리를 보관할 수 있어요. So these are the 4 different ways that you can continue to take your spare battery on board the plane. 자, 그래서 보조 배터리를 비닐봉투에 넣거나 아니면 단자에다가 절연 테이프를 붙이거나 단자 보호 캡 같은 것을 사용하거나 아니면 보호 파우치에다가 보관하는 이 4가지 방법을 쓰면 그러면 carry-on으로 스페어 배터리 들고 타도 됩니다. 다만 이제 얘기했던 그 비닐봉투는 공항에서는 더 이상 제공하진 않고 if you have your own plastic bag then no one's going to stop you. That's one way, but they do say there are other ways, better ways, I guess, of protecting your battery from exploding. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah, of course, this is because there have been batteries that have been exploding or catching on fire that have been causing fires in the plane in flight. So, that's been an issue.
그래요. 자, 그럼 표현을 보겠습니다. To discontinue something.
To discontinue something is to stop using or doing something. So you look at the base word is continue, right? So we're doing something, you're going to continue doing it, or you will still do something or still use something. But if you discontinue, you're doing the opposite. You're stopping using it.
Some things are no longer around. And they used to be in the past, but the production of those things were discontinued. I can't think of any at the moment, but there's so many, right?
Yeah, like VHS video machines.
There you go. Cassette tapes.
Yeah, cassette tapes, vinyl records. There's so many things from technology standpoint that we used to use, but now they're discontinued.
그렇죠. 자, continue는 뭔가 계속하는 것이지만 discontinue는 뭔가가 중단됐다는 뜻이 있어서 예전에는 지금 얘기한 vinyl discs 아니면은 cassette tapes 이런 것들을 다 계속 만들어서 시중에 내놓고 했지만 더 이상 출시 안 되죠. 물론 기존의 것들을 중고 마켓으로 살 수는 있지만 그래서 the production of certain things have been discontinued. What about enhanced?
Something that is enhanced is something that is improved or something that's done better, perhaps more efficient, more powerful. If we think of the Olympics or sports, there's something that we talk about quite a bit called PEDs. PEDs are performance-enhancing drugs. So those are like your steroids to make you perform better. So once again, that is performance-enhancing drugs. You take these drugs and they improve you. They make you faster, stronger, more physical. So that's what it does.
Am I right in saying you're not supposed to take
Oh,
those?
absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
don't be because they have side effects. So while they do enhance your body physically in some ways, they're also dangerous for you in other ways, and that's why they are banned and outlawed, especially for competition.
네, 올림픽 같은 경기에서 경기력을 향상시키는 그런 약물을 복용하면 당연히 안 되겠죠. 근데 그 단어가 저도 처음 배웠네요. PED라고 하는군요. Performance Enhancing Drugs. Enhance가 이렇게 향상한다는 뜻이 있습니다. 자, 그러면은 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Starting next month, airports will discontinue providing plastic bags and will instead offer insulation tape to travelers carrying spare batteries as part of enhanced in-flight safety regulations mandated by the Transport Ministry. Let's move on to the next headline.
A towering wall of dust, known meteorologically as a haboob, swept through the U.S. city of Phoenix earlier this week, reducing visibility to near zero before severe thunderstorms followed, toppling trees, causing wind damage, and triggering widespread power outages.
이번 주 초 하부브라고 불리는 수십 미터 높이의 거대한 모래 폭풍이 미국 애리조나주 피닉스를 덮쳐 시야가 거의 가려지는 상황이 펼쳐졌고 직후 강력한 뇌우까지 이어지면서 나무가 쓰러지고 강풍 피해 및 정전 사태가 광범위하게 발생했습니다. Wow, tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like an extreme dust storm of sorts. And this thing, I guess they called it a haboob. It's like a big wall of dust that you can't see through.
Yeah.
And apparently visibility was next to zero. So if you're driving, you couldn't see the car in front of you. So the smart people, hopefully, they just pulled over and stopped because if you can't see where you're going, always the wisest thing to do.
Visibility라는 것은 시야가 되겠죠. 가시거리 같은 건데 next to zero means it was almost zero.
Almost zero.
거의 뭐 가시거리가 0일 정도로 전혀 앞이 보이지 않았다. Oh my goodness. And I guess it was really tall.
Yeah, in fact, it was towering, a towering wall of dust. And when we say that something is towering, it's something that's very, very tall. It towers, because we think of towers as being tall, right? So if we're using towers as a verb, then it's like it towers over this. Then, you know, it's so much taller than this is usually what we're saying.
So in Korea, we have the Seoul Tower or the Namsan Tower. In Paris, they have the Eiffel Tower. 이런 식으로 타워들이 굉장히 원래 높잖아요. 그래서 영어에서는 동사로 towering 한다라고 하면은 아주 높이 우뚝 솟았다라는 의미가 됩니다. You could say that someone's towering over you, in which case maybe they're really tall and they're looking down on you.
Yeah.
이렇게도 동사로 재밌게 쓰는 표현인데 여기서 물론 재밌는 상황이 아닙니다만 하부브라고 하는 먼지, 구름 같은 거죠. 이게 모래 폭풍인데 이게 아주 높이 솟아서 애리조나의 피닉스를 덮었다고 합니다. Now let's have a look at reducing visibility.
Reducing visibility means that you can't see. Visibility meaning, if something it can be seen or cannot be seen. And if you're reducing the ability to see or the visibility, then you're saying that, okay, well, I can't see or I can see a lot less than I was able to see before.
시야가 흐리게 되다. Reducing visibility. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A towering wall of dust, known meteorologically as a haboob, swept through the U.S. city of Phoenix earlier this week, reducing visibility to near zero before severe thunderstorms followed, toppling trees, causing wind damage, and triggering widespread power outages. Now let's move on to the final headline.
Imports valued under $800 in the U.S. are losing their duty-free status this week under an executive order signed last month aimed at reducing reliance on foreign goods and reshaping global trade.
미국으로 반입되는 $800 이하의 소액 소포에 대한 무관세 정책이 오는 29일부터 폐지됩니다. 이는 미국 정부가 외국 상품에 대한 의존도를 낮추고 글로벌 무역을 재편하려는 목적으로 지난달 서명한 행정명령에 따른 것입니다. Tell us more.
So we're going to have to, or I guess people in the U.S. are going to have to start paying tax on things that are under $800 in value because before they didn't have to pay tax, but it looks like now they will be taxed. As this has been an ongoing thing over the last several months.
The whole aim, of course, is to get people to buy less things from overseas.
Exactly. For them to buy made in the USA things for people living in the USA.
So these items under $800 will lose their duty-free status.
Yeah, and when we think of duty-free, you often think about, duty-free shopping.
면세 shopping.
Yeah, 면세점 shopping. And what that is you're going to be able to buy things that you don't have to pay additional tax on. And often things that are most highly taxed are things like alcohol. It could be, in some cases, electronics, or just anything that your country also produces because you don't want it to compete with your own country's products of that stuff. So you tax it heavily. So when something is duty-free, it means that you are not paying tax on that item.
네, 미국으로 수입이 되는 외국의 물건 중에 $800 이하인 물건들이 이제 더 이상 면세 혜택을 받지 못하게 됩니다. 그걸 영어로는 they will be losing their duty-free status라고 표현을 하고 있어요. 그래서 status를 여기서 신분이라고 하지 않고 혜택 정도라고 해석해도 좋을 것 같고 What about reliance?
Reliance is how much you need something. So if you rely on someone or something, then you need that. It's kind of like you're stuck with it, or it's necessary for you to require that. So if you get less reliant on something, then you need it less and less because you have other ways to acquire that.
reliant 라는 표현도 써주셨고요. 명사는 reliance인데 의존이라는 뜻입니다. R-E-L-I-A-N-C-E reliance 그래서 의존도가 될 수도 있고요. be reliant 그러면 무언가에 의존하다.
And of course, another form of the word could be reliable, meaning that, you are there when needed.
Yeah.
So, I'm a reliable person. When I make a promise, I keep my promises, or you can count on me to do something.
You can be trusted. A reliable person. 이런 거는 굉장히 좋죠. 누구든지 신뢰할 만한 사람이라는 뜻으로 씁니다.
Yeah, so in that case, it'd be, you can rely on me, as opposed to, having to rely on something.
그렇죠. 의존이라는 기본 베이스 뜻이 있긴 하지만 그래도 우리가 this person is so reliable 할 때 이 사람은 의존적이야가 아니고요. 이 사람한테 우리가 의존을 해도 될 정도로 믿을만해 라는 아주 좋은 칭찬입니다. 자, 다시 한번 들어볼게요. Imports valued under $800 in the US are losing their duty-free status this week under an executive order signed last month, aimed at reducing reliance on foreign goods and reshaping global trade. Well, that's it for the headlines with Jason Lee.